Hey, so this is the first of many lectures of mine that you'll watch. But today, all we're doing really is going over the class. We're just going to talk about how the class works, what you're going to be doing. Pretty easy. Maybe the easiest lecture. Maybe. Okay. So let's see. This is me. This always goes over a little bit better in my in-person classes because I usually have a lot of students from the same area because I was born in Arizona, in Mesa specifically, which is a city in Arizona, and then I still teach here. You guys I know are all over the place, so this really isn't going to have as much impact. But I graduated from Hamilton, which is also here in Arizona, and then I've got my BS. Bachelor of Science, Masters of Arts, and PhD, all those from ASU. My PhD is in cognitive science, also sometimes called cognitive psychology. And what I did there was I focused on auditory and visual perception, really all types of perception, but we know most about auditory and visual. And so that is my link to this department. I really focused on the auditory part. My graduate thesis is in auditory cognition and all sorts of things that can be used to explain how we hear the world that we're in, but also that can be applied to things like hearing aids and making better algorithms for any type of hearing prosthetic device, basically. And so here I am. I'm also a runner. And I used to be, when I was getting my Bachelor of Science, I also toyed with the idea of being an actor. So this is a movie I was in. This is from when I worked at the campus radio station. And then I really switched and just went into science hardcore. Okay. So we'll talk about some of my research really quickly because it's fun. And a lot of this pertains a little bit more to speech because I know most of you are going the speech route and not the audiology route. That's just the way it always goes. So one thing that I've done is, actually I'm still working on this, is looking at swear words, specifically the phonemes, the vowel phonemes that are used in swear words. So we use different vowel phonemes in swear words, at different rates, not different phonemes, but at different rates than we do in other words. What that means is our swear words tend to come from things like ah. They involve ah phonemes, phonemes, phonemes also, but the is kind of like you're saying someone is doing that, like a baker, and it's kind of just an add-on. Doesn't really pertain to the swear word. Just that some swear words kind of, they don't contain, they're not as good without the Anyway, and you can see in this graph right here the usage rates of different phonemes in swear words versus not. Swear words are in the dark bars. Random American words, just typical words, are in the white bars. And you see that things like E are used much more often in just regular words than swear words. And then things like it's close. There's more in swear words, but these error bars here show the kind of variation that you would expect in regular words. And then you get to and I mean, swear words take the cake here. Swear words also take the cake there. Hey, my computer's running out of battery. That's great. So the difference, if you have been through phonetics already, is the difference between the schwa and the sound. If you break this down, so this is putting the schwa and the together in this graph right here. And if you don't do that, if you break it down by stressed and unstressed sounds, then the graph starts to look a lot different. The swear words have very few instances of a schwa, interestingly. And swear words have far more stressed sounds. Oh, that was interesting. Okay, so that's it for swear words. Another thing that I've been working on is the dundun drum, which is also sometimes called the Nigerian talking drum. This drum, which is what this guy is playing down here in the bottom, is it can change its pitch and so it can change its frequency, I guess I should say, and its loudness. Every drum can change its loudness, okay, but most drums can't change their pitch, so it'll actually sound like a boom boom kind of sound. What happens is you're tightening the drum head by pulling on these strings right here. What's interesting about this is this drum is used to replicate speech. The particular language that's spoken by this, the one of the language groups that use this drum is called Yoruba, and it is a tonal language. The big tonal language everybody knows is certain dialects of Chinese. They're tonal languages. Well, so is Yoruba. And that means that what you can do is you can really closely replicate speech with this drum. What we wanted to know was how closely. How is the drum matching the speech? In what ways? So like prosody information, is it there as well? Is it just strictly like pitch and things like that? And it's everything. I mean, if you look at the frequency of speech and how it changes, the drum is doing the same thing. It's not just like a rough approximation. It's following it exactly. Same for intensity as well. So it's really interesting. And the last thing that I do, which doesn't have any bearing on anything that you guys are learning in your major, is I do work with tetrachromacy, which is a fourth color cone in humans. Most humans only have 3 color cones. Some have 2. Those are people that are colorblind. There is evidence that some people have a fourth color cone, and these people can see way more colors than most of us. This is from Story in Psychology Today about the work that we're doing with tetrachromacy, and we're still doing that. So if you're a person who sees color normally, and you have a relative who has color blindness, you should let me know if you're interested in this research, because it's possible that you might have tetrachromacy. If the theory is true about how tetrachromacy comes about, you might. But and we've got a way. What we're developing is a way to test that without having to have you genetically typed, which is the way that right now people are finding out if people do have tetrachromacy. It's just running their genetics. It's expensive. It takes a long time. It's not something that can be deployed in all parts of the world. Ours can, but we are not sure if it works yet. So that's what we're testing. Okay, so your TA, no, your TA is not named Lexi Basciano. Your TA is named Sam McGee. Should have changed that. Your TA is named Sam McGee. This is Sam. He's also a runner. He's way faster than I am. His research focuses on bilingualism. He speaks English and German, and I believe he speaks a little Spanish and possibly Romanian too, which is great. I mean, that's amazing. I don't speak any other languages well other than English. I just kind of threw everything into English. Like, let's try to do English better than average, and not learn another language. Oh well. This means I have people in my family that I can't actually communicate with. They speak Spanish, so I just wave at them. Okay, so this is what our rough schedule is going to look like. Our first week and a half, basically I'm cutting it all into week and a half-ish type blocks. We have 5 blocks that we need to get through. We have 7 weeks to get through these. And so it kind of works out that some of them are going to be a week and a half. Some of them are a week. So, our start date is going to be the start date that's on here. Everything's going to open up that day. All of your lectures, your labs, quizzes, those are all going to open on the 10th or the 20th or the 30th, the 9th, the 19th. Your due date for all this stuff is the one in the column on the right, this column right here that says due date. So everything's going to be due here 9 days after, or roughly actually 10 days after, because you get that whole 9th day. It opens. So you'll have 10 days to work on this, 10 days to work on this, etc. There's an exam due at the end of each one of these. If you've had other classes with me, you know that I use this same formula to show when there are exams. But for this class, there's an exam after every block, every module is done. So once we learn neuroanatomy and neurophysiology, you take an exam on that. After respiration, anatomy and physiology of respiration, you're going to take an exam on that. Phonation, exam. Articulation and resonance, exam. Swallowing and OMD, exam. So there are 6 exams in this class. There's 5 different due dates. We'll talk about the 6th exam in a second, but there's an exam after each thing. I feel like this is going to make it easier on you. I've been doing this, for the last few semesters of classes I've been teaching, and it seems like people like this. You break a chunk down, learn that, take the exam on that. You go to the next one. It's not like the stuff doesn't carry over. It absolutely does, but it makes it a little easier to study. Okay, so there's 6 exams. The lowest one is dropped. The 6th exam is a cumulative final. So you're going to have those 5 exams, one for each module, and then there's a final that draws from all of those other exams that you can take. Well, you'll take all of them. The lowest one is going to be dropped. And what that means is if you really like your score on the first 5 exams, then you don't necessarily have to take the cumulative final. It would be graded as a 0 because you didn't take it, but because the lowest exam is dropped, the 0 is the one that's dropped. So, 6 exams, the lowest one is dropped. Another way that you can think about this is you absolutely have a free pass to screw up once on the exams, right? So like if you have a really bad exam, it's fine. It'll get dropped. If it's your first one, neuro is usually one of the harder sections that we go through. It tends to be, and the first exam in any class, right, is a little more difficult because usually you're trying to figure out how the professor asks questions and stuff like that. And it doesn't help that neuro is a more difficult topic for some people, for most people. And so a lot of people do poorly on the first exam. You don't have to feel like that is the story for your whole semester. If you are usually an A student and you get a B on this, well, maybe you'll get an A on all the rest and you'll take the cumulative final and you'll get an A. The B goes away. So don't worry about it. You have, one mistake is not going to ruin the whole semester. There's also 7 quizzes, and you get 2 attempts on the quiz. I should say the exams are all locked down, so they're not open note, nothing. Your camera's going to be on. You're going to take it from your brain. The quizzes are absolutely open note, and they're not lockdown browser or anything like that, so you can take them whenever, and you don't have to set up any special time to be alone or in quiet or anything like that. You get 2 attempts. What I want you to do is the first time you go through, take it like it's an exam. Don't use your notes. See what you can do. And then it'll tell you which questions you got wrong. It won't tell you what the answers are, but it'll tell you which ones you got wrong. On your second time through, pull your notes out and make sure you get all the points. And that way it'll help you figure out what you need to study. Like what you didn't do well on the first time through, you should study that. And then answer those correctly, study it more. It's probably going to show up on the exams. A lot of questions from my quizzes end up being exam questions in some form. So pay attention to the quiz questions. There's also 7 labs. These labs are online labs. You'll see me or Dr. Weinhold or some of the other faculty that teach 310 doing walking you through different labs. Some of them are things that you're just going to do on your own, so you'll follow like a step-by-step instruction thing to look at different structures and anatomical structures and answer questions about them. The goal is that you're probably going to get full credit on these. So it's kind of like you're taking a deeper dive into it, and you're having to find the answers from your textbook, from places online that we give you, from watching the videos that we provide. But hopefully you do really well on these. The answers are there. So it's not anything to trip you up. It's not like another exam, really. It's just another study aid. Okay, extra credit. There will be at least one extra credit opportunity in this class. I know that for sure. It's some research that one of my honors students is doing. And I actually have 2 honors students, so there might be 2 extra credit opportunities. You can participate in this research. You get extra credit points. You get 3 extra credit points, and there may be more. Other professors may be doing research, and they might want some people to participate, or there could be something else. So there are extra credit opportunities. I know for sure there's going to be 1, probably 2, and there could be more. Okay, so this is something that I tell everybody, which is the DRC, formerly the DRC, the Disability Resource Center, which is now SAILS, which is probably, I don't know what it stands for. Too many letters. But whatever. So it basically is the same thing as the DRC. It's the same place. They just changed the name. You can go there in person or digitally. If you happen to be in Arizona, you can go there in person. If you're online in a different area or in Arizona but far away, talk to them digitally. Do this if you think that you could use some accommodation. Now, I know that some of these things are like obvious, right? Like if you're in an in-person class, you break your leg. Yeah, I need an accommodation. Okay. Or you are visually impaired. Okay, I need an accommodation. Cool. But there's a lot of things that maybe you don't know that might be going on that you can be tested for through the DRC. So things like dyslexia, test anxiety, auditory processing disorder, all of these are real things that there are tests for at SAILS. And if you feel like this might be you, it never hurts to check it out. Now, I know it seems like you should know if you're dyslexic by now, by the time you're 18, 20. Some of you are returning students, so maybe you're 35, 55, whatever. But dyslexia can be kind of insidious and kind of sit around and just, screw with you slightly, but not be something that you are like, oh, I am definitely a dyslexic person. There's gradations to it. So if you feel like you have a hard time reading, or you're really slow at reading or retaining the information, this could be something. Talk to SAILS. Test anxiety, if you just can't focus, can't sleep before you take your exam, and then that not sleeping causes you to do poorly on the exam, talk to SAILS. Auditory processing disorder is an interesting thing where you can understand information that's getting in. It's not exactly hearing loss. It's just that sometimes when there's extra information or multiple sounds together, information can get jumbled. This is APD. These are all things that SAILS can help you get tested for. Now, look, here's the thing. I mean, it never hurts to find out, right? Because if you don't qualify, the only person that's going to know is you and the person who administered the test at SAILS. I don't get notified. None of your other instructors or peers are notified about this at all. If you do qualify, absolutely, it could help you succeed in all of your classes and in your future work as well, just to know these things about yourself. Every semester, actually last semester this didn't happen, but whatever. Anyway, the example still holds up. Almost every semester, I have one student who says, I did go to sales about something, and it turns out I'm dyslexic, or it turns out I have crippling test anxiety. And they were able to give extra time on the exams, or, all sorts of different accommodations. So check it out. It can't hurt you. It can only help you. So give it a look if you think that there's something that's a barrier to your education. Also, ASU Health Services, this is more for in-person students, but there are behavioral health services that you can use online. So if you feel like you need somebody to talk to, if you're having, a real stressy time, you're a college student, it's a pandemic, Omicron seems like it's getting worse. Lots of weird economic things going on. So check it out. If you need some sort of talk therapy or anything that can be done remotely, then check that out through ASU Health Services. If you are local but you're in the online program for some reason, you can come into any campus and use ASU Health Services. And there is a program that waives fees for low-income students. You have to qualify for it, though. Check that out on your own. But basically, if you don't have insurance, if you don't have a way to get medical help, you can go to ASU Health Services and you can get it there. And they'll do different things with the fees. Okay, that's it. After this, your next thing is starting up neuroanatomy. Oh, and anatomical planes and directions is actually what we're going to do first. We're going to do anatomical planes and directions, then neuroanatomy. Okay, well, I'll see you for that. It'll be fun. And I'm looking forward to this semester. Yeah, I can't find my cursor to step. There we go. Okay, see you later.